Hi everyone, hi to my ghosties. I'm Hedgie and today we're going to talk about Tik Tok. Why did I say it like that? So in today's video I want to talk mainly about the bad side of TikTok. I think there's a lot happening right now on TikTok, especially with like young children. They're very in the picture right now on TikTok and in multiple ways that are like maybe we should keep them away from the app. And that's mainly what I want to talk about today. I'm going to talk about some other bad things. First, before we get into the video, I want to talk about some positive stuff. I think TikTok is a good app and why I am on it and what I do with the app. I feel if you know my TikTok, I post some creative stuff on there. I have my ghosties. Now I started to make a paper with multiple small symbols on it and stuff. Go to my TikTok, you can see it there. I did some stuff like, if you know them, what would they pick? Smash or Pass Houses edition. You know, very fun and innocent stuff. What's not always the case on TikTok. Positive ways to use TikTok are like funny videos, sending TikToks to your friends. If you post TikToks, you can find people who care about the stuff you like too. If you don't have anyone in your close neighborhood who cares about the same stuff, you can create a community of people who do care. And I think that's also a very important social thing for people. Finding people who care about their interests and stuff. And I think that's also a good thing about TikTok, because you can find people who care about your stuff. And I think I said most of the positive stuff about TikTok. It's very simple, it's where the app is made for. You can do fun dances. That's where it started with, musically, if you can remember it. Yes, the dances, the lip syncing. It was a bit cringe. That's maybe a less positive side. Also, the negative things are not going to be very TikTok specifically bonded to TikTok, but you know, some things are going to be more on TikTok because TikTok is very accessible to post on. So I feel like now we should talk about some negative stuff that happens on TikTok. And yeah, like my nose is a little bit like stuffed and I can't really breathe like normal through it. And I feel like this talking video is going to be very hard because I can't breathe and talk at the same time. But we'll get through it. Also, TikTok is very easy accessible for everyone, and that can be positive or negative. It just depends what you do with the app. It really depends. But I feel that are all the positive things that I can think of for TikTok. If you have other positive things, drop them down in the comments. I don't want it all to be negative and like see, that's why TikTok is bad and blah blah blah, because I like scrolling on TikTok. I like posting on TikTok. I'm not going to lie about that. I like using TikTok. I'm sorry. Okay. Some negative stuff. I made a little list here. If you see me looking this way, it's because the list is here. It's just because I will forget things. And I want to talk about as much as possible in this video. First of all, I want to talk about kids on the app. The first part I want to talk about is Sephora kids. I mean, if you're on the internet, you already seen it somewhere. It's all over TikTok. It starts to be all over YouTube too. Those girls, because most of them are girls, from age 9 to 12, and they're going to Sephora. If you don't know Sephora, there is a store, a makeup store with expensive products. So not just some, you know, makeup as some like store where they sell some other stuff for adults, kids, you know, not one of those stores. A makeup and skincare store with products for adults in them. Yesterday I saw the story from a little girl out, how she told it. If I find it, I will put it up on the screen. Anyways, what she did was just straight up bullying someone older than you, and she was like, even, I don't know the big deal about why everyone talks about Sephora kids. We're not that bad. You were straight up bullying a person, and I'm not going to say it's all the children's fault that they are that way. I think a big part of it is because their parents aren't around, you know? They weren't raised well, their parents didn't care about them. They just shoved an iPad in their hands and just let them be. Do I think that excuses everything they do? Absolutely not. You should know that stealing stuff out someone else's baskets, you know, your shopping cart, is also considered something you shouldn't do. And I think they know that, because if it would happen to them, they would go feral. But if they do it, it's not that big of a deal. Excuse me. Oh, I can be getting so mad at these children when I watch those videos. Like, literally, I'm eating it up. I really, excuse me. But anyways, I'm going to stop talking about it. It's enough videos on TikTok. If you want to go deeper into it, it's a really deep rabbit hole you can go into. It's not that hard to find. It just came randomly on my For You page, and then another video popped up and another one, and I was like, this is really a problem, you know? As I was saying, that it was also a problem with the parents. I think there is more control needed of the parents. They should be like, you can be on TikTok, you can't go to Sephora alone, because those are adult products. I want to be there when you buy stuff like that. Also, you can get out once or twice a year, but that's it, because they cost a lot of money. Like teach our kids what the value is of money, how to behave in stores, how, you know, if the limit of age is 13, if you have to be 13 to be on TikTok, that if they are 10, they shouldn't be on TikTok because that's lying about their age. There's an age restriction on it for a reason. I want to segue into another part of the kids sphere. I want to talk about family vlogging. We all know it. I feel that's just, it's just so icky. You are using and traumatizing your kids on TikTok, and I feel that is also a problem out of TikTok, that if kids get like punished for the entire internet, it's just allowed on TikTok, and I think it shouldn't be allowed on TikTok because it's humiliating, and the kids can't say no to their parents because they have to live 24/7 with them. They can't say no, that's just the problem. You're a kid and your parents have some kind of authority over you, and they will just do anything to be like, oh come on, it's not a big deal, it's just the camera, we're just gonna show it to millions of people on the internet, it's not a big deal. But it is a big deal for those kids, and if my parents would have done that, I would now be moved out and never be talking to them again, to be honest. So I think this kind of abuse, and no, abuse is not a too big word. If you are just family vlogging and showing some fun stuff, it's okay. But once you are punishing them for a camera, or showing them in every single vlog, every single minute of them, just pushing out that money of your kids, like, you can family vlog and not have to show your kids 24/7 on it. So, and I also think if a kid is crying about something or they did something bad, the first reaction shouldn't be, so tell me what you did wrong, or why, tell us why you're crying. What life is that? Imagine you grow up like that. That is not something that should be seen as okay. I think that's very traumatic and very, it's just traumatic and also very bad from the parents. You're just doing it for views and you're not really that safe haven for your kids that you actually should be. So that's just all I'm going to say about that. The next thing I want to be getting into is a bit more abusing. So I'm going to say a few things, like triggering warmer, triggering warmer. So I want to give some quick trigger warnings about abuse online essay and P words, and if you don't know what that means, it's basically, I can't say the word on YouTube, I know that, but look it up what people mean with P word, or if you're underage, I would recommend you to stop watching or actually skipping it, or get a parent with you so you can relevate what I'm saying, what is happening. Of course, if you're 16, you will be more familiar with it than when you're 10. I hope if you're 10, you're not familiar with this. I will put a timestamp right here. If you're not comfortable to watch it, skip to there. I won't go too deep into it, but I'm going to talk about it, so skip to this timestamp. Okay, so maybe some of you have seen it or not, but I want to start with this mother that puts her child in this situation that is like, the child is always being very innocent, but the mother knows what she's doing, and some videos are a little bit too suggestive for a child. And also, like, you can have like thumbnails for TikToks too. It's always like the most suggestive part of the video that's in the thumbnail for her TikToks. So I feel like that's just not okay. And I've seen other kids, like, for example, totally covered in a bodysuit, just dancing. The entire comments are game is game, and if you don't know what that means, they would just her and don't care about the results. And I think that's the most disgusting thing ever, and I feel so disgusted when I see things like that. It just passes by on TikTok, and I feel like I need to make people aware of this. If you're a parent, if you're a future parent, please don't let your kids alone on apps or film them in any way that could be, even if you can, keep them off the internet entirely. Don't post videos for the entire internet. Don't post pictures for the entire internet. There will always be gross older people, mainly men, but also women, that are going to be absolutely disgusting about your kids doing something absolutely innocent and cute. And it's so frustrating that an entire comment section can be game is game on such a little child. And I really think it's really sad. And if you see things like that, report people, because that's the only thing we really can do in that position. I think it's so sad because, like, parents post their kids and those kids can't choose if they are posted or not, and then these super disgusting older people come on there and be like, oh, game is game. Like, who the fuck says that about a 4-year-old? An absolutely disgusting person if you think that's okay to comment on anyone, actually, but especially on 4-year-olds, younger, older kids, just kids in general. Like, if you think that's okay to post on anyone, and especially kids, then you're an absolutely disgusting person. You should be in jail by just saying that. But I'm going to move on from this subject because I'm getting really mad and sad at the same time, because how can you do something like that? How can you say that? It's so insane to me how people can just say that on the internet. But we're going to move on from this subject. Some other things that I think are problematic. Some other things that I think are problematic on TikTok are weird diet cultures. I feel like that was around 2020 a very big thing, but it's now less, or maybe I'm just not on that side of TikTok. Also, when men describe them as alpha males, you're just cringe. Anyways, something that is wrong with TikTok. There's a lot of fake news circulating, and I can say like, this seems a bit strange to me. Let me look that up. And then see like, okay, it was fake. But as a kid, you might just eat that up. Even as an adult, some people just be like, oh my god, is this true? Oh my god, and just eat it entirely up. Even as an adult, some people just are, this fake news must be real because I've seen it on TikTok. No, sometimes you have to say it to yourself, like, is this real? No, it isn't. So also people be aware of it. There's a lot of fake news out there. And the last thing I wrote down is problematic age gaps and Sweet Home Alabama. What I mean with problematic age gaps is like some 20-year-old dating like a 60-year-old and acting like they're so in love, and it's so normal. And of course it can be, but also that's weird. I feel like that's just icky if you're 40 years apart. Like, you could be his grandparent, like you could be his or her grandparent. And now for the Sweet Home Alabama, if you don't know what that means, it just means your family and you're doing it. I'm already scarred from saying it. If you're already scarred from hearing this, be happy you never seen content I'm dating with my sister or something, because that's absolutely disgusting. Ew. But on that note, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you... So that was it for today. Thank you for watching. I felt like this was a very important video to make today, because if you weren't aware of one of these things, they are on TikTok and it can be dangerous. So be safe on there, and remember, the internet is not always safe, but you can make it safe.